All right, Clemson and Wake Forest may just decide who's going to take over the Atlantic Division lead after this week. Also, Duke, Kansas. Let me tell you why. One team is going to be no longer undefeated, and I think it's going to be the Jayhawks, but Drizzy Drake might have a different opinion. Let's talk about Freestyle Friday, best bets in week 4.
You are Locked On ACC, your daily podcast on the Atlantic Coast Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's edition of Locked On ACC. I'm your host, Candace Cooper. Thanks so much for joining me today. We got Drizzy Drake in the building. He's going to talk to us about the best bets of week 4, the best games that are happening in week 4. We know there's a lot of good things going around the ACC, so we've got the expert in here from the Locked On Seminoles podcast to talk about it. Drizzy Drake, how we feeling? We're live right now, but for those who watch on Friday, you're going to get the run back, so appreciate this. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me. You know I love a Freestyle Friday. You know I love coming and putting the best bets. Last week wasn't our best week gambling. We went 4-5, but that's why they call it gambling. That's why they don't call it winning. So let's go back on the horse and make some damn money today, folks.
You know, sometimes you can't always be great because there will be everyone would be rich, right?
You need adversity sometimes too, man. You need to cultivate some adversity a little bit.
You need a little humility that'll keep you grounded, right? You know, we've had a lot of humility going on this week in the sports news. Like some people just need to get humbled. Some people just need things to come to light. It's just a lot going on. All I'm saying is, as a female, don't fumble your bag. Fellas, if you feel like you're going to fumble your bag, Nia Long, please just don't. If you have a Nia Long-esque in your life, don't fumble that bag. Don't bet. Don't put all your money in a different pot. Just stay at home. You know, you pick up what I'm putting down, Drizzy Drake.
I feel like by just speaking to my fiance, Jessica, I love you. I can't wait for you to come back. I know you're having a great bachelorette weekend over in Palm Springs. Have a great time. And Shawnee, congratulations again.
Come on, Palm Springs, period, Pooh. She over here living her best life. That is very city girl of her. Palm Springs sounds amazing. Well, at the time of this taping, we are, of course, in Thursday night. So the West Virginia Tech game is going to be going on. We'll pop in maybe the few like score updates or whatever, what have you, because why not? It's a live show. And then we have the rest of the games to go over. But as it stands, Thursday night lights, we love a good Thursday night game, especially here in the ACC. Virginia Tech is at home. They do best when they are at home. And Brent Pry and company are on slight roll. We were panicked a little bit at the start of the season at 0-1, but they've gotten things together. Are they going to be this West Virginia team?
Yeah, because West Virginia is really, really bad at football, and I know it's more the fact that like this is an at-home game for Virginia Tech at Lane Stadium at night on a Thursday in the middle of the week, and then West Virginia to me is a team that right now they're the Big 12's version of Louisville, primarily meaning that Scott Satterfield or for West Virginia Neil Brown is on the hot seat, and it's a team that probably they should have beaten Pitt. And they kind of have been the same team since, and they kind of are slowly becoming the worst team in the Big 12 outside of maybe Iowa State. And this Virginia Tech team, like you're saying, Brent Pry starting to get things together. Chris Marv, the defensive coordinator there for me. Florida State's kind of like getting the defense hold together as well. So to me, Grant Wells isn't great, but I don't think he needs to be great to at least beat this West Virginia team.
Sometimes you just got to know how to be a good manager. You don't have to be a stud. You just have to know not to jack it up. And at the end of the day, if you could be a quarterback that doesn't jack it up for your team, you're going to be able to figure out how to throw the ball. You're going to have some good receivers. If your O-line can figure out just have to give you a little more time because they know you're going to need a little bit extra, I think he'll be fine. I think that defense is going to step up in big ways tonight, and West Virginia is going to have a long night.
I completely agree with that. That's why I have Virginia Tech at +2 if you're listening to this live, and also take the under 49.5 because I don't trust West Virginia's quarterback to do anything. I know JT Daniels, but outside of the one of his wide receivers, he hasn't been somewhat of anything really this entire year.
Now, JT put on the show for the Backyard Brawl. I ain't going to hold you.
But that was what? What have you doing? What was the Mike Leach meme? That was last week? That was last effing week? Come on now.
What have you done for me lately? Shout out to Janet Jackson. Okay. Friday matchup. You know, we love a little Friday night lights. We've got Virginia and Syracuse. A Virginia team that is feeling like, Lord, if we could just find some offense and just maintain a defense. We don't need a good defense. We don't even need mediocre defense. We just need a defense. You know what I'm saying? And then Syracuse, who's saying, listen, guys, we're good. We're about to be 4-0. We're going to take down Virginia. We talked about on yesterday's show, potential trap game for Syracuse, because eventually a good quarterback like Brennan Armstrong gets it. You know, he's going to have a good game. Tavion Thompson is not a scrub. So like one of these days he's going to fire on all cylinders. But I can't even sit here and say with confidence that Garrett Schrader is going to not have his way with Virginia's defense. And that's crazy to me because we all know how I feel about Garrett.
I know, like it's kind of similar to the way that most people feel about Jordan Travis, where they didn't feel that he was basically
no. Jordan Travis for Heisman. Sorry.
Like, I know.
These Knowles are listening. Sorry, Jordan Travis for Heisman.
I know. Max and them are listening out there, so it was day 2. But you know how I feel about Friday night games. Friday night games weird me out. Friday night games are basically where weird stuff happens, either better or worse. Look at FSU Louisville last week, and basically we lost 6 of our starters. But to me, with Virginia, Brandon Armstrong is still the bottom 5 worst quarterback in the entire country when it comes to QBR. That is not a good sign for a QB that I had as the second best quarterback in the entire conference heading into the year. Now, whether that's no one helping him around, whether it's offensive line or Tony Ella not being able to get scheme around him, this offense is struggling. And it's a Syracuse team that I know they just went through a very emotional win against Purdue. Purdue isn't bad. Purdue has an NFL prospect in Aiden O'Connell going to the NFL next year. Purdue is a battle-tested defensive juggernaut too. So to me, Syracuse, I was a little bit disagreeing with AJ. I thought Syracuse probably should have been. Clemson's not the number 1 team in the ACC. I think you probably have to put Florida State and then Syracuse and then probably Clemson for that. But to me, Syracuse is playing it's every year there's one team that's going to win 10 games out of nowhere that we didn't see it like last year was Wake Forest. This year that team is Dino El Bambino over there in Syracuse, New York. And to me, Syracuse -10 is the obvious play here.
-10? You really think so?
I will lay down 10 points with Dino. I've never thought I would say that ever in my life.
I know, right? And that's crazy. I also think Sean Tucker had a bad game against Purdue, and he's about to step things up because the running back like that doesn't have terrible games twice. That's just not how it works.
No, and he'll tweet about it too. Like number 34, had a bad game. His Twitter is so funny. I love it.
You are the second person to say that here on this show. I also feel like Garrett Williams on the defensive side for Syracuse is straight up nasty, has a dog in him. I think he's going to give Brandon Armstrong and company fits. So yeah, I'm just going to argue and say it's going to be Syracuse -10. I feel it. I'm going for it. I like it. Now we move on to Saturday. Let's start with the first matchup before we go into break here. Clemson and Wake Forest. Arguably the best game in the Atlantic Division right now because these are the top of the top, minus Florida State, NC State, we can say, who are going to give you fits if you don't have close to undefeated or minus a lost season. Like this is the one where you circle the calendar. You got to win. You have to.
You do. And then, Wake Forest played out of this game?
NC State? Florida State.
They play Florida State. They have a really kind of tough schedule going on with this right now. And then also, Clemson is 13-0 in their past 13 appearances against Wake Forest. And then do you remember the score of the game last year?
But they were in Death Valley in their defense.
But is it much of a home field advantage when you go over to Snuggy Hill?
You know what? You're not about to start that. I think that Wake Forest.
I know Cam is listening too, so I know I can see you, Cam.
They bring the people out. You know what I'm saying? They bring the squad out. So it's possible for Wake Forest to bring out a large crowd. 1, 2. It's also possible for Sam Hartman to have a really good game and outperform DJ. Now, when it comes to defense, you don't have the same Wake Forest defense as last year. You don't. So it could be closer than we're thinking. No? Okay.
I think it's more that I'm giving you a no because I think Clemson might, because to me, Clemson has beaten Wake Forest by double digits, I think in the past 10 years of this matchup, regardless of where they're at. Dabo's undefeated against Wake Forest, so when you're giving me only a touchdown difference, I think the line right now currently is 7.5.
Upset. Don't you feel it?
No.
Nope.
Did you watch the Liberty Wake Forest game last week?
Every good team needs a slight punch in the mouth, but every great team knows how to overcome said punch. And they did. They figured it out. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, they got the W.
All right, you know what, Candace? You give your pick for this game. I'm going to follow your lead, and you give the pick for this game. Are you ranking Wake Forest plus 7.5, or what are we doing?
I was just about to say, I'm definitely taking Wake Forest plus 7. I think that it's going to come down to a field goal, and unfortunately, it's going to go in Clemson's favor. But I really feel like Wake Forest is going to have a better showing than we think. I would love to see an upset, though. Like, I am a deep grad myself. I would love to see an upset. However, that defense is playing for something different right now, and I think Clemson, that defense. Clemson's defense is playing for something different right now. And they're probably on like strict tunnel vision, 0 dark 30, just straight focus, trying to get back to national championship status. And Wake Forest is just in their way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that defensive line is going to actually probably feast this game. And I think Brian Bressee's coming back this weekend too as well. That's going to be a mean defensive line coming out Sam Hartman. This is going to be one of the rare games where the better quarterback is going to lose. I do think Sam Hartman is a better QB than DJ. And because also DJ doesn't have the best weapons around him. Will Shipley looks good. But also, if you're only giving me 7.5 points, I'm going to take Clemson over Wake Forest, especially because that defense is going to be tough.
Yeah, and like from an offensive line standpoint, Zach Tom out of Wake Forest is not walking through that door. So they're going to have to step up in big ways if they want to even compete with that defense. But, crazier things have happened. I think ultimately it's going to be a closer game than we imagine. Now, let's talk about some other Saturday matchups here. But first, this episode is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to spice up college football this season. You have in my pick'em for this weekend, I would like quarterback Drake May higher than 254.5 passing yards against Notre Dame. Lord Jesus, if he could just hush and deliver. I would like Notre Dame starter Drew Pine lower than 217.5. And I like Louisville quarterback Malik Cunningham over 95.5 rushing yards against USF, which is not impossible, but we never know what we're going to get from that Louisville team. Sign up with promo code LOCKEDON. That's one word. And Underdog will double your deposit up to $100. Deposit up to $100. Get $100 for free. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com or find the Underdog Fantasy app in the App Store or Google Play Store. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code LOCKEDON. Get in on college football pick'em action today. I know if you guys were listening to this show yesterday, you heard me talk about Drake May, and I didn't get to reemphasize the fact that if you're going to talk trash, do not apologize. Unless it's like something like insane, double down. Say what you said, stand on what you said, and just let it be. At the end of the day, I believe it. I didn't need an apology from him, but that's because I'm a local girl and I understand what he was trying to say. I understand he was trying not to be a distraction, but I don't see no Florida State kid talking about Miami and being like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I don't want to be a distraction. Stand on it. Stand on your ish.
Just back it up. Just back it up. I really don't care. I love trash talk. So, you know what?
I live for the trash talk. Yes. Yeah. 100%. Next new game we want to talk about, moving over to the coastal side of things, Rhode Island and Pitt. Pitt coming off a good win. Nate Yarnell leading the squad, feeling good about it. Don't know who our quarterback's going to be. Can it be Nick Petty? Will it be Keenan Slovis? Will it be Nate Yarnell? We don't know. However, we do know Pitt needs to keep the ball rolling, and I think they'll do that with Rhode Island.
Yeah, I don't think we need to spend that much time on this game. And folks, the moment you see this line pop, because it's going to be one of those games where I think Pitt's probably going to be favored by 24 points, just roll with Pitt with this one. And I think this is a game where you roll with Nick Yarnell, you let Keenan Slovis, Nick Petty get a little more healthier. I wouldn't even toy with starting him in this game.
That's very true. All right, the game of the week that we've all been worried about, talking about, wanting to get together, Duke and Kansas. And we're not talking about basketball, people. We're talking about football. 2 3-0 teams facing off in a 12 noon game at Kansas. Rock Chalk was it Jayhawk? One of them? Okay.
Rock Chalk Jayhawk.
I don't ever cheer for Duke like that. First of all, I have a bitterness against Kansas because the way they beat Carolina every single time when it matters really bothers me. But other than that,
didn't that happen this year in basketball too?
You know what? I don't need that. We didn't need that extra little bit. Thank you so much. Where was your team? Not in the championship. Period. I'm saying
not in the bracket either.
Small minor details. We love Leonard Hamilton though, but I do think that Duke is definitely the team that's going to go in a hostile environment and figure out how to be 4-0. I never knew Kansas was going to do this, where they were going to make it easy for me. But my whole talking junk has started with Duke is going to start the season 4-0. That's my whole spiel. Don't let me down, because I hate having to believe in y'all and I hate hyping y'all up the way I do. But I'm going to keep going so long as you give me what I need. And that's a win.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, Kansas and I, and also Candace and Kenton have a bet right now where Kenton and I believe that Duke was not going to win 6 games. They're already halfway there, so I'm already kind of
Are you shaking in your boots? You shaking in your boots?
Not shaking, but I'm sweating a little bit. I'm sweating. I'll say I'll sweat a little bit. I'll sweat a little bit. This will be Duke's first loss, and this is a Kansas team that is right now averaging the most points of any team in the country in the Big 12. Now I know the Big 12 the defense is optional, but they beat a Houston team that was ranked, and they also beat the crap out of a West Virginia team that Wisconsin season's not good, but you still score 55 points against them. There's no hope with that. And also, Kansas, in their last 6 games against the spread, is 6-0. Also, they are 4-0 against the spread when they score at least 40 points. To me, this is a game where Duke right now is what Kansas was last year. You bring in a new head coach to kind of change the culture after basically having a coach that kind of gave up. Kansas had that last year where
quiet quitting.
Quiet quitting. That's a better way to put it. Kansas last year had Lance Leipold come on in after the Les Miles debacle. This year for Duke, they had what's his name? Coach Cutcliffe.
Yes, Coach Cutcliffe. Yeah,
gets fired, and Mike Elko's coming in now.
Coach Cutcliffe didn't get fired. He decided that it was his time.
Sorry.
Because that's my guy. You know what I'm saying?
Sorry, he went on his own accord. I'll put it that way. But to me, this is a team where Kansas, that's a very dynamic and fun offense to watch. To me, Mike Elko though has a very, very strong defensive scheme for this game.
Talk about it.
Kansas will win this game, but the line being at 7.5.
I thought you were gonna talk yourself into being on my side, but it's okay. Go ahead.
Nah, I'm taking Duke to cover the game because I do think that either Kansas wins by 10 or they'll win by 7. And as kind of an ACC homer, I will take Duke plus 7.5 because I do like Riley Leonard. The only thing is that Jalen Daniels, the QB for Kansas right now, kind of scares me. And that offensive line for Kansas might be one of the tops in the country. So to me, Duke's going to cover, but Kansas will win the game.
See, this could be a game where Kansas catches Duke or Duke catches Kansas slipping. Because you're like, oh, it's Duke. Like, yeah, they're a 3-0, but it's like a false fool's gold 3-0. They've only beaten A&T. They've only beaten Northwestern. They've only beaten, who was the first school? What was the other school that they beat?
The school of fired Scott Frost, Nebraska.
Yes. But who Duke has beaten Northwestern. They've beaten A&T. And who else did they beat? You know Nebraska. What I'm talking about.
Nebraska.
No, Duke did not play.
Oh, not Duke. Sorry. No, sorry. No, Duke beat Oh
my God, that's gonna bother me because it wasn't a great school. Who did they beat? Temple. That's what it was.
Temple. Okay, Temple's
yes. Okay, yeah. that was going to mess with my spirit. Now they've beaten mediocre teams, but Kansas is probably thinking, yeah, they haven't beat anybody good. ACC is not great. They're the worst of the ACC. Blah 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 blah. They're bottom of the coastal. Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to tell y'all this is not the same Duke team. I'm trying to tell y'all Jalen Stinson is about that life. I'm trying to tell y'all Shaka Hayward and Dwayne Carter, like I've been hyping up all freaking season, are about that life. So go ahead. Sleep on them if you want to. When we come back 4-0, I really want y'all, I want to honestly put a down payment on the bet because you need to just go ahead and put 75 because you're going to get that other 75 because they're going to figure out 2 more. They can beat Georgia Tech. And they might beat Carolina while we playing.
Listen,
okay.
The only those honestly, those to me are more, I guess, likely to happen than against Kansas because, like you're saying, how like Kansas will look past them. This is a head coach that got his teeth, or guys experience coaching University of Wisconsin at Whitewater for like 20 years. This is someone that does not look past. It's like that's kind of like not in his coaching mentality. So to me, this is a tougher game for that. But yeah,
Duke has Virginia. Duke has
a win.
Georgia Tech.
That's a win.
Virginia Tech. Closer. Boston College.
Yeah, we're going to have to pay you out because Boston College.
Run it.
Yeah. You know what? Listen, we'll revisit that when we get there. But as of right now, you haven't won the bet.
Game at a time. I hear you. Game at a time because you never crazier things have happened. People go down.
1% better every single day. Climb. # Mike Norvell. You know how it was. Come on now.
We love our boy Mike. I'm glad y'all have a bye week because y'all gonna need to rest up. Anyway, South Florida and Louisville. Let's get to the money. Louisville needs a home game to get themselves back up. This South Florida team is gonna give them their confidence boots. Correct? Drizzy Drake minus 14.5. I'm saying Louisville could 14.5 is pretty dicey.
It's pretty dicey. The only thing is that I think a lot of people are taking money on USF because of how they play against Florida. The only thing is Florida's bad. Florida is probably the worst offense in the entire state of Florida, and I'm including FAU in that entire conversation.
What about FIU? FIU got bad.
No, FIU's bad. I'm a Florida hater, but I'm not going to go that far. But Florida hasn't thrown a touchdown pass yet.
So what have they been doing? Just running backs?
Just mainly running, which they have great. They have great running backs, but overall, that offense doesn't look good at all whatsoever after the first game was against Utah. So to me, USF is I think the number 45 in the nation with rushing efficiency, which Louisville is not great at defending.
Sure.
But I definitely think that this is a game where Louisville will probably be able to kind of pick themselves up after the game against FSU the week before because they had the game in the bag, and then I don't know what the hell happened with them. Like I
You
heard
know,
I heard a Louisville podcast actually the week of that game, like, oh, FSU's so undisciplined. We had 5 penalties. They had 11, and 4 of them came in the fourth quarter. So, pink
I was gonna
seats.
say that's not what I would give them to Mike Norvell when it comes to the penalties. No, this is the year where I feel like they've been most disciplined, if anything, to be honest. But that shout out to that. Middle Tennessee State and Miami. It'll be at Miami. We'll bring the whole city out. You know what I'm talking about? 305. Okay, no, okay. Minus 25.5.
Take Middle Tennessee State plus 25. Take the under. Actually, also as well, I believe the under I have it on here is 53.5. Mainly, I'm saying that, Cance. What was the one thing we told Miami not to do last week?
Don't get hurt. Don't lose your receivers. What was it? I don't know.
Don't embarrass us in front of the hose, and that's exactly what they did against Texas A&M. They went for 5 field goals. You're 5. Right. They missed 2.
Listen, if you're going to be a Bear, be a Grizzly. If you want to play an SEC team, you gotta score. You gotta score touchdowns. Period.
No, and listen, I know the wide receivers weren't that great. I know Xavier Restrepo, I don't believe he didn't play that game because I think he's out indefinitely with a foot injury. Mm-hmm. But Tyler Van Dyke, my guy, we were ones that were basically saying, okay, we apologize. You played great last year. We haven't seen the efficiency from you this year. The defense also, Texas A&M's offense isn't that great, but they kept you in the game. And then Cristobal, this is the one thing that basically everyone's been saying about you since Oregon, that you don't know how to coach in big game situations. Why in the world are you kicking field goals when you're only down by 9 points? Come on now. Dude.
Yeah. So it's a growth moment. Like I was telling Alex, I think at the end of the day, some people realize and recognize that, hey, you are a first-year coach. You got a lot to learn. There's a learning curve with being a head coach and making some head honcho decisions, and you live with the good ones and you have to live with the bad ones.
That's true, but the problem is also with that, he's been a head coach of a Power 5 program for what now? 7 years? He was over at Oregon.
But at Miami is different energy, right? No? Okay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yes, it is. But you also
different set of expectations, because I'm sure they were in his ass after that game.
Oh, 100%. You should have seen my timeline. You should. My cousin, and also I was watching the game with a few friends of mine too, who are big Miami fans. I have never heard so much anger at another Hispanic during Hispanic Heritage Month in my life.
I was gonna say, were they cussing him out in Spanish, trying to be at least cordial about it so that everyone didn't know what they were saying, but they would just rip it?
It was a lot of bro, it was just bad. It was bad. But yeah, no, truth be told, Middle Tennessee State plus 25, that's a lot of points. I'm not trusting this Miami team offensively at all, period, as of yet. Take the under though, because I think the defense is definitely Miami's defense actually is pretty damn good. So
yeah, 100% agree. All right, another game that should be circled on calendars if you're looking for high flying brands would be Notre Dame and North Carolina. That face off at 3:30 on ABC. Carolina's currently minus 1.5, which is, listen, you a crazy fool if you don't take the plus 1.5 for Notre Dame.
I want you to tell me why I should not take the minus 1.5 for UNC.
Have you looked at North Carolina's defense this season? More than that, historically, after a bye week, they are infamous for struggling because it's they don't come out and are high flying. We're back to normal, back on the bike, they've done this before. They always struggle and stutter step, and what a worse team to stutter step against, because this team is not good right now. Notre Dame is not good, and if you can't figure out how to put 4 quarters, I just need 4 good quarters. I don't need 4 great quarters, 4 solid quarters from the defense. I would feel okay with a loss.
Have you seen Notre Dame's offense, though? Have you seen their offensive line?
This Carolina team made Ian Book look like he was a first-round draft pick.
Ian Book was a pretty good QB, if we're keeping it transparent here.
Bruh.
For college. And for college, he was a pretty decent QB.
Not better than Sam Howell, college-wise, collegiately.
I'd say they're interchangeable, but I'll lean with that.
Okay, well, we can hate on Sam all day, but at the end of the day, I just need Carolina to give me 4 good quarters. They've let people put up 40. App State, are you listening? App State put up 40 in the 4th.
App State beat Texas A&M.
I mean, if you want Miami to catch a stray, just say that.
As long as I'm on this show, they will forever be catching strays. I'm from down here too, so I really don't care, because I know my friends always listen to the show too as well. But take the over 55 because it's going to be a lot of offense.
Who's playing defense?
Nadie. Nobody.
Georgia Tech and UCF. Lord help us. Let's just have a moment of silence for Georgia Tech. This might be Jeff Collins' last game.
Yeah.
This might be Jeff Collins' last game.
Yeah, Jeff Collins will be fired. You'll hear the Deion Sanders rumor of him going over to Georgia Tech, and then you'll hear Brian Harsin gets fired after they lose over to Missouri. So,
I
you know,
like
hey,
that. I like
right?
that. Yeah.
Like, listen, Deion and ATL might be a real thing, might be the wave. And, like, listen, that was a talent-rich area. But, yeah, UCF is going to stop them. That's for you, Evis. I know you're listening. Congratulations on getting married. But, yeah, UCF is going to beat them, cover, and take the over, whatever it is. I don't even have it up right now. So
it's minus 20.5.
Yeah,
See, I think the 42-0 loss was a fluke. Like, I think Jeff Sims again has the talent. Come on, y'all. He has the talent. He
does.
has some weapons. But I don't know if it's the play calling, the decision making. Sometimes it's his decision making that's crazy. They have a strong, solid, like good enough defense. They don't have an incredible defense, but they had a good out, when they first started the season. Clemson was right there until it wasn't.
Yeah, that's one of those like that. But also, that was the first game of the year, so it's kind of like you got to put take that a little bit with. I mean, listen, the and opening weekend is for overreaction, so it's like one of those things where it's like you got to take it with a grain of salt.
Okay.
And then UCF, I mean, I think they now understand with their QB John Rice Plumlee, he's not a good passer. That you basically want to run the ball with him a lot.
That's fair.
With Jeff Sims, you're right. He's a very talented kid. He's actually probably when you scheme around him, he can actually be serviceable.
Yeah.
The problem is the play calling isn't good. The offensive line isn't good.
And the leadership isn't good. We could just go down the list.
Yeah, like listen, like Jeff Collins, I have a ticket right now that he's the first ACC coach to be fired. I put money on that actually before the season even started. I would not be surprised if he doesn't make it till the end of October. And this might be the game where if Gus Malzahn beats him bad enough in year number 2, sayonara.
Gotta go. All right, UConn and NC State. We don't have to spend long on this. NC State is minus 38.5. It's my Lord. Like, I don't know. I just don't like doing that much because I don't think it's going to be an obliteration. But do you think UConn is really that bad?
I mean, they scored what, 20? No, they scored I think 14 points or 17 points against Syracuse. And I think NC State has a better defense.
That's fair.
This is one of those games
slightly.
It's also it's at home though. It's at night. Like maybe they might honestly, UConn might not score anything in the first half. And then the NC State might be up like 28-0, 30-31-0. And then you're like, pull everybody else out. So I don't touch those either. I would take the over for 9.5. I wouldn't be surprised if this is maybe like a 38-10, maybe even like a 42-10 type of game. So give me the over here at 49.5.
Yeah, Demi Sumo looks like he's going to run all over this defense. So I agree there. Final game, of course, is Boston College and Florida State. I thought y'all had a bye, but I guess I got that wrong. Maybe because I'm thinking this is a bye because Boston College is just that bad.
Yeah, they're the worst team in the conference.
They're the bottom 5 worst team in the Power 5. Argue. We can debate.
Yeah, I'm about to say there might not be worse teams in the. I honestly Vanderbilt might beat this team. Vanderbilt's not bad.
Oh, 100%. I'm not sure right now if I have any confidence in Boston College, and I was gung ho about Hafley, and this was going to be the year where shit changes. Excuse me, because Phil Dracovic was going to be good, and Zay Flowers is going to be better. So I'm pissed.
Listen, I was standing for Phil Dracovic as a top 5 QB who was entering the year, and now he's a bottom 5 quarterback in the conference. Actually, he might be actually bottom 4 right now because that offensive line is doing him no favors. You lose all 5 starters.
Sorry to cut you off, Drizzy Drake. You know what's crazy?
What's up?
All the quarterbacks that we have been so high on going into the year, right? Phil Dracovic, Brennan Armstrong, DJ, and quiet as even Devin Leary, quiet as it's kept. We've been talking about Karen Schrader. We've been talking about Drake May. We've been talking about Riley Leonard. Like, come on.
Jordan Travis, too.
Jordan Travis for Heisman, obviously. Like, let's keep it a buck. It's insane. This is why you play the game, people. This is why you all the preseason stuff. If any player is listening to this show, do not buy into preseason hype. You got to show and prove. As much as we think that you're going to be good based on last year's stats ain't this year's stats. You got to show it every single year.
Correct. And unfortunately, Jordan Travis might not be starting this game, even though he actually has been at practice. I mean,
he needs to sit his ass down. This is not the game.
This is a game where I was like, listen, JT, we might have a bye next week because there is a hurricane coming to Tallahassee and the same time against Wake. So we might actually, because we have a bye week after Clemson in between Clemson and GT. So that game might actually get pushed back to then. So to me, actually, honestly, I would sit JT, sit Robert Scott to our offensive lineman, who I actually don't think is going to be able to play. Same with Jared Verse. Fabian Lovett didn't play against Louisville. Same with Fabo. So to me, Tate Rodemaker, listen, you grew up before our eyes. I want to apologize because I have been saying that you are not a quality Power 5 QB, and you basically just shredded Jarvis
Shut
Brownlee
you right
in
up.
the
Yeah.
Louisville defensive secondary. So to me, let Tate Rodemaker play. Let AJ Duffy play. Take FSU minus 17.5. Take the under at 48.5 because that offensive line against Boston College is about to get feasted on because those 4 walk-ons have no idea what's coming. Before I forget, though, Candace, since now you're talking about QBs, who are your top 3 quarterbacks in the conference now, actually, then?
Drake May, bar none. Sam Hartman, close second. And honestly, third, Devin Leary. Now, it's only because he hasn't really played anybody where I'm like, okay, I know the greatness is there. Show me. Once you fire on all cylinders, I feel like NC State's unstoppable. You're honestly in NC State's way, according to Kenton Gibbs. So I've locked on Wolfpack. But I would say Drake May is clearly the best. I would say Sam Hartman is very close second. And then Devin.
Okay.
Yeah. I would love to put Riley Leonard up there because he's a close Mr. Congeniality in number 4 spot. But it's still Duke. Show me you could beat a good team, and then I will really have you as a quarterback in the top 3.
Beat Kansas because that's actually a good offensive team.
Because
Garrett Schrader beat a good team in Purdue. So
he did. So I'm feeling good about. But no, Garrett Schrader's still not top 5 to me. Sorry. No.
No love for the Heisman frontrunner and JT. Come on now.
You got to stay healthy. Half of the ability, your best ability is availability. To me, right? If you can't get on the field, what can you do for me, Johnny? Can't do nothing.
To be fair, Sam missed his first game. Jordan only hasn't missed a game yet. Only missed a half.
But when he came in, he was we knew Sam was going to come in and take over. JT, I don't feel confident. Don't have me start talking junk about Seminoles. I already know. You already know. I'm already on a bad streak with them. Jordan Travis for Heisman. He will be a starting quarterback in the NFL one day. So you hear it all. Hear it all first from Candace Cooper, Locked on ACC podcast. Drizzy Drake, it's a pleasure to have you here on the show.
Always.
Can you please remind these folks of where they can find you, follow your work, and get some more money?
You can follow me at Tally__Drake as you see below. You can follow my co-host Dave Wise at FSU Knowles. The O is a 0 and the S is a 5 because my man's a boomer. And as always, you can follow the podcast at Knowles Anonymous, basically where we engage with our fans, get things for episodes, and also message for our Mandatory Mailbag Mondays. As always, we're fans first, people second, podcasters third. Unfortunately, guys, I've been out sick this week, actually, for the rest of the week, but we do have AJ Black coming on later today to basically do our Know Your Foe segment about Boston College. We'll be talking about how Furdrakovic is probably running for his life this weekend against FSU.
Not running for his life, but it'll be a great show nonetheless. Can't wait to check it out, guys. We've had a great week of all of our hosts. If you have missed any episodes, you're doing yourself a disservice. Make sure you catch up and get ready. You got weekly reads and rankings. You've got the Coastal GB. You've got the Atlantic Division GB. You've got the Trap Game Thursdays. All of this good stuff, plus your best bets to end the week. So make sure you guys check that out. For Candace Cooper and Drizzy Drake, have a great and safe weekend. Until next time.